This is the new Kiwi Design K4 Duo Headstrap for the Quest 3 and 3S, and on paper it seems like everything I've ever wanted, including over-ear headphones and a battery, but how good is it actually? Well, we'll go over features, comfort, and of course test the audio and charging speed, then talk about some negatives. Let's get to it. Kiwi Design calls the K4 Duo an all-in-one head strap, and besides the additional battery and of course the headphones, it's actually packing a lot of cool tech under the hood, including their recent dual fast charging chip with a claimed combined charging speed of 45 watts, but we're not just gonna take their word for it, so let's test it out. The idea here is that by using at least a 45 watt power brick, you can fast charge both the head strap itself and the headset. So let's start by plugging in my nifty little tester here into the head strap, and it seems it charges at around 28 to 29 watts. Now I also wanted to see how fast the head strap charges the headset, and as you can see it's pulling around 15 watts of power, which means in total we're reaching very close to that claimed 45 watts. Now the exact numbers will fluctuate depending on the charging percentage, and in these tests my Quest was nearly full while the head strap was nearly empty, which is why we're seeing the strap pulling nearly double the amount of power that is being pushed to the headset. This should charge both the head strap and the headset from 0 to full in around 2.5 hours, and I found that to be pretty close in real testing, with it taking roughly between 2 and 3 hours, assuming that both are completely dead. Before we talk about and test the audio quality, let's go over comfort and adjustability, because this could be the most audiophile level sounding strap, but if it's not comfortable to wear, then all that doesn't really matter. Now, I generally love Kiwi Design head straps when it comes to comfort and build quality, and I've gotta say this is no exception. The back and top have those super soft leather cushions that you might have seen on other Kiwi straps, as well as the middle hinge that makes putting this on or taking it off super easy. But where I think this really shines is in the adjustability of the actual headphones themselves. They swivel, tilt in and out, and they have a small rail that allows you to move them up and down and also slightly change their angle. This simply means that they should fit any head shape perfectly regardless of where your ears are, so again, good job. Now let's move on to the star of the show, the headphones, because as far as I'm aware, this is the first audio head strap available on the market for the Quest 3 and 3S, so hopefully the audio quality is worth it. But first, you might have noticed a tiny switch on the right headphone arm here, and that allows you to change between having the audio come through the built-in Quest speakers or through the K4 Duo's headphones. I think it's great to have that flexibility, though I've gotta be honest, I'm not sure why you'd pay extra for an audio head strap just to then end up still using the built-in speakers, but maybe that's just me. Okay, let's talk audio quality, and I'll be testing it in some music-centered games to check out the overall audio performance, then jump into some multiplayer shooters to see how the spatial audio performs, and finally I'll talk about using this for watching videos or movies. I'll also do a quick test for you to hear the difference between the built-in speakers and the headphones yourself. Kicking things off with some Beat Saber and Pistol Whip, the audio is clear and balanced, and the fact that it's directed straight into my ears makes it feel nice and punchy, though there are a few things I would have liked to see more of, which I'll talk about in the negative section a bit later. Overall, for music titles, it gets a pass from me, with the biggest advantage being the sound isolation and considerably lower sound leakage compared to using the built-in speakers. Switching gears to some contractors to test out the spatial audio and subtle cues like footsteps, I feel like this was the biggest difference from the standard speakers. Now don't get me wrong, the built-in speakers on the Quest 3 and 3S are excellent for the form factor, but the fact that you can hear everything else around you is not great for when you're trying to pinpoint small things like footsteps. Well, with the K4 Duo, it almost felt like cheating because I could hear every single small step or gunshot and clearly know where it's coming from. So for competitive shooters, this gets a massive thumbs up from me. And this translates perfectly to single-player games as well, where you just want to get fully immersed in the story and the environment, as well as for things like VR chat, where some of the worlds have exquisite sound design. Transitioning into watching some movies in big screen and just regular videos on YouTube, in this scenario, my thoughts are very similar to what I've mentioned when it comes to music games. I can't say the sound is necessarily miles better than the standard speakers, but the fact that it's isolated and directed into your ears means it feels much closer and more of a personal experience. And it also means that people around you won't hear or be bothered by you watching something on full blast. Now let me show you what this sounds like. So if you're not already wearing headphones, this part of the video is where you want to put some in to really hear the difference. Just be aware this is a highly non-scientific method and just meant to give you an idea, but it won't convey the full experience of wearing this. Now, before I get to the conclusion, there are a few negatives that I feel are worth being aware of before deciding to buy this product. First off, I was personally expecting a lot more bass, and it's not that it's completely lacking, but it's not gonna knock your socks off either, and I personally prefer a lot more bass on my headphones. And that might just be personal preference, and to be honest, they probably have enough bass for 90% of regular users, but just thought it's worth mentioning. Secondly, and this is more of an FYI than an actual negative, the sound switch takes a good few seconds to actually change from the built-in audio to the headphones, and I'm not even actually sure if this is down to Kiwi Design or just Meta software and how audio switching works, but again, worth mentioning. Lastly, I wish it had a bit more volume, and maybe this is just me getting old or years of likely hearing damage due to listening at high volumes, but I would have loved around maybe 20 to 30% more volume headroom. Okay, so who and what is this new head strap good for? Well, I'd say the biggest selling point here is the fact that it considerably limits audio leakage to people around you, and if you're the type of person who likes to play, watch, or listen to stuff on your Meta Quest, either late at night or just when other people are around that might be bothered by it, this will almost 100% fix that problem. Also, if you're into competitive or single player games, then this will really enhance your experience thanks to the audio being blasted straight into your ears. Now, the full price of this is an eye-watering $160, but they do currently have an offer running on Amazon US for 30% off, bringing it down to about $110, which is a lot more digestible. The offer is only available until August 10th, so if you're thinking about getting this, then this would be a good time to do it. Now, for the build quality, I totally understand the steep price. It feels like a premium product, and it is a premium product, but if you're considering getting this, then the current 30% discount is significant and makes this a great buy if you're looking for an audio head strap for your Quest 3 or 3S, and I've left a link below if you want to check it out. Let me know if you have any questions or concerns, and I'll answer your comments as best I can. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.